good, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Launchpad. I'm your host, Chris, and today we have a very special guest with us. He's been touring all over the world, fresh from Bristol in the UK. Please welcome the one and only Will Clarke.
What's up, man? How are you
doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good, man, good. It's fucking sweaty.
Yeah, it's way too sweaty.
Jesus Christ.
Even for our own good.
I was on the drive here, and the lady that was driving us, Michelle, she was like, yeah, it's a bit cooler tonight. I'm like, this is not fucking cool. Like, Jesus.
No way. And this is the light part of the
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Yeah.
But you're a veteran to performing out here in Arizona, so you know how it feels.
Yeah.
But does it feel different every time that you come out and perform or just to visit?
No, it's still just as hot. No, it's amazing. I like coming out here. I feel that what the Relentless Beats guys do, they're like really building an amazing scene out here. And I've been playing here for years, probably like 7-8 years now.
Yeah.
And you see it grow and fans build and things like that. It's an amazing place. It's very random. It's like the fucking desert.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to come out here again. So yeah.
Yeah, and especially like every time you come out here, you have a huge following out here in Arizona too.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate.
Yeah. Is it refreshing every time you get to see new faces or people that just come back and say, "Oh, I saw you at this show last time"?
Yeah. I'm so lucky with that. Like, just everybody, all the DJs that are lucky with all the fans that kind of come out constantly, and like, you're like, you've seen me how many times this year? It amazes me. But yeah, that's what we do it for, right? Realistically, it's what we do it to play music for the people that come to see us play, and if we can perform as well as we possibly can, then that's what we do it for.
Exactly. And especially your writing style too. A lot of people compliment you on that too, especially with those golden ears that people have in your fan base too. Where are your favorite places to start writing? I know that you, in a past interview, you said that you like to write in London. It's the best for writing in our genre.
Yeah, I don't live in London. I live like in the countryside near Bristol in the UK. Mm-hmm. I love writing there. It's an amazing place. If I'm like songwriting with writers, like London's easy for that because there's so many people there.
Yeah.
But I like taking the songs that I write in London and then going back to my studio in Somerset, near Bristol, and like being able to just like be at home and just take my time on records and like really home in on what I want to do with the records. I'm like, I obviously been living in Detroit for the last 6 years as well, so that's had like a big influence on my music over the years. But I haven't really been writing there so much. It's mostly been UK based writing recently.
Nice. Yeah. And I know that different places have different influences on you too, especially like not only on the musical side but culturally too. Have there been any places that stood out to you that you performed at?
It's really strange. I don't really get, well, of course I get influences from places, but for me, like, for a very long time, I haven't really been to a place where I'm like, oh wow, this influences me to write music. Mm-hmm. Like, when I write music, it's more so based on just how I feel. And like, if I'm in a really good mood, I can write music. If I'm in a bad mood, I can't write music.
Right.
So it just depends. And I don't tend to write music on the road anymore. For me, it's like, I take the time on the road off writing, unless I'm writing edits and stuff for my DJ sets. It's like, I prefer to like be in the studio, have like chill time, have my family around, have my friends around, and just be able to like pop into the studio, work really hard for like a month, and get shit done, and then go back on tour, give some time out of the studio, and then it was very different. It used to be like I'd write every single day, and I feel like everyone has to do that at some point in their career, and I will have to do that again at some point.
Right.
But at this moment in time, I'm just writing when I feel like I need to write, really.
Yeah. And speaking on that, it's just a lot of other artists, they say like they're in the studio at like late hours of the night and they start at maybe like 10, 11 o'clock and don't leave till early morning. But correct me if I'm wrong, but you were different. You like starting early and having like a structure to how you make music. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a psycho. It's like, I like routine a lot. So wake up, go to the gym, do like what I need to do in the morning, like by 10 o'clock, get in the studio and just get working. And yeah, like sometimes I might be in the studio from 10 till 8 at night. Sometimes I'll be in the studio 10 till 2 in the afternoon, if you know what I mean. It just depends how I feel, really. But yeah, I'm not a late person writer, unless I'm like trying to get shit done and I'm on a roll and like. But I will always start as early in the morning, or early-ish in the morning.
And you get to enjoy so much more of the day too.
I think the thing is because I split my time between America and England. If I come home to England and all I do is spend time in the studio, I don't get to see my family. I don't get to see my friends. And like, as I've gotten older, it's always been important to me. But like, as I'm fortunate enough that I have a bit of a career and I don't have to like hustle as hard in the studio, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't have to write music if I don't need to, because I've got enough music to release. I'd like to have that structure where like I'm going to work. When I'm in the studio, I'm going to work, and it's the same as everybody else. When they go to work 9 to 5, it's like I treat the studio like that. Right. And it allows me time to spend time with my family and friends when I'm back in the UK as well, which is super important to me.
Right, and that's the most important thing too. Like, you got to make time for the family.
Well, I think also it's like what we do, right? It's like I do what I do because I love it, and it's like, although it is a job and it does turn into a job sometimes, but it's like I should be able to have the freedom to go, you know what, I'm not working today. Yeah. Like, I'm going to go hang out with my friends, or I'm going to go take my mum out for the day, or take my dad out for the day, or take my nephews out for the day, or nieces. And you just like, what can I do to like, we all work really hard so we can have freedom. And if we don't have that freedom that we've deserved to work for, then what's the fucking point of we doing it for? Like, you're just doing it to like, money doesn't make things happy, doesn't make you happy, doesn't make anyone happy around you. Like, your time is valuable, and that's what makes people happy. So exactly, for me, that's what it's about.
Yeah, that's some of the things that you stress in your podcast too, is just having that time for yourself and having that freedom to do what you want with no holds barred.
Yeah.
Have there been anything in your podcast that you've learned from other people that maybe you've applied to your own life?
No, maybe. I've done so many episodes now that I'm kind of like, it all turns into a blur, every conversation. I think a lot of the messages are very similar. It's just worded in different ways. But realistically, like, everyone's on their own path. Everyone's got their own space. Everyone can do their own thing. So it's just like, that's the thing that I've learned the most, is like, whatever you do is you. It doesn't matter like what somebody else is doing, what other artists are doing, what anybody's doing. Is like, it's just you, and you're on your own, and there's space for you if you want to make space for yourself.
Right. And especially making space for yourself. We talked a lot about production too. Is that your latest single? What is it?
In Love with You.
In Love with You. Yeah. I'm sorry. But,
that's fine.
Yeah, I'm in love with you. Like, your latest single, that I feel is one of your more free spaces where you get to really create based off of your influence, and you don't really have to basically stick to anybody else's standards.
Well, I think that's the thing from what I try and do in the studio is, like, I don't know. Nowadays, there's a lot of people, well, not now, just nowadays, but the way music is released nowadays, it doesn't allow artists to be artists, because to have a successful career in a lot of sense, in the quintessential sense, is like, you have to sound a certain way to get on certain playlists on Spotify, so that you get on certain stages on festivals, so you get into certain clubs, which you have to do, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I did at the beginning of my career, but for me it was just like getting to the point where I have to do what I love, and if I can write music that I love, like, even if 10 people come and, well, hopefully more, but even if 10 people just come and show up, like, you're doing what you want to do. And for me, there's so much more longevity in that, rather than copying, rather than sounding like the hottest new thing, because you're not ever going to be that hottest new thing if you're trying to sound like them. Like, sound like you, work out what your sound is, and that takes time, it takes years. But it's like, also when you have your own sound, it might not be the most popular thing to start with, but eventually it will be.
Absolutely.
And you just got to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Keep going, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Yeah. And especially, I learned just recently, like, you had a series of videos you recorded, Will Makes Me Hungry, like over the pandemic, where you just cooked random dishes and just expressed yourself freely, and what you like to eat too. Is that something that you wanted to keep doing, or something that you might do in the future? Yeah,
so during COVID, I recorded 11 episodes. So we're releasing that monthly. I love it. Food is a huge part of my life. Like, I struggle with nowadays how, like, artists they're only allowed to do one thing, and I think it's a load of bullshit. Like, we're allowed to do whatever that we want. Like, we're all passionate people. Everyone has a passion for something, and it's like, okay, I like food, I like conversation. Like, I start a podcast, start a food show, and it's like, why not? Like, what's stopping us? So, and I kind of want to do that more so people can see it's like, you don't have to just be one, you don't just have to be known for that one thing. It's like, some of the best artists in the world were not one single faceted, if you know what I mean. They all did multiple things, which is so important.
Exactly. Do you have a favorite dish that you like cooking?
I love cooking Indian food. Yeah, just generally Indian food overall. It's amazing.
Yeah, that extra kick and the spices
exactly.
make it worth it.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
No worries, man.
Really appreciate you taking the time out. And thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Moon Landing. I'm Chris. This is Will Clarke. You can catch him tonight at Gold Rush Music Festival here in Arizona. We'll see you again soon.
Peace.